Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about tips and tricks in slide identification of systemic histology. So we are seeing the part 2 of the systemic histology. So if you are seeing this video for first time, first see the basic histology video which we have uploaded, then followed by general histology slide identification, then systemic histology part 1. Then this will be the fourth video in this series. Okay, so this is the complete set 1 to 4. If we watch 1 to 4, almost all the slide in our undergraduate slide identification spotter and discussion I have covered in this. So try to see in the same sequence so that uh, you here in the first video you will be mainly seeing about the epithelium, then here cartilage, muscle, everything, then part 1 of the systemic histology, then part 2, so that it will be easy for you to correlate. Here in the systemic histology I haven't said how to identify the epithelium because everything is covered in the first and second. Okay, so quickly I'm moving to the topic proper. So in this video we are going to see the reproductive system, female and male reproductive system, nervous system, endocrine, and other slides such as sensory organ, that is the retina and cornea. So first let me start with the male reproductive system. In male reproductive system, this slide contain multiple cross section. Okay, you can able to see there is a multiple cross section. Okay, so this is nothing but a cross section of some tubes. Okay, similarly there is one more slide which is also having multiple cross section. Okay, so these two slides get confused very easily. Okay, apart from this, what are the other slide we have seen where the multiple cross section of tubes you can able to see? One is the kidney, but kidney you can very well differentiate with this slide because in the kidney you can able to see some glomeruli where there is a urinary space. Okay, here it's filled with the capillaries. This urinary space I have shown in the last video, you can able to see clearly. So that's how you can able to differentiate kidney from this slide. Okay, so these two slides are the slides of testis and epidermis. Okay, in case of testis, these multiple cross section are the nothing but the seminiferous tubule. Okay, so which contain cetotic cell. Okay, cetotic cell will be there. Then multiple stages of the developing spermatozoa, spermatogonia, and the spermatid, everything will be there. Okay, so because of that, these cells are mostly confined to the basement membrane. You can able to see this is the basement membrane, and the cells are arranged close to the basement membrane. And in lumen, these spermatids will be there. Okay, so here the thickness is like kind of stratified layer, multiple layer. When you come to the epidermis, this is lined by the pseudo-stratified ciliated columnar epithelium, that is the stereocilia. Because of that, this is a single layer thickness. You can able to see clearly. It is a single layer thickness, and these spermatids will be there in the center, confined in the center. Okay, so this is the basic difference between the epidermis and testis. So you can easily differentiate the testis from the epidermis. Then moving to the next slide. Here, try to see the lumen. Lumen is almost crystal clear, complete circle. Okay, followed by if you see the epithelium, epithelium is a kind of single cell thickness. The whole thickness is a kind of single cell, and if you finally observe, you can able to see the cilia. Okay, so the again here the epithelium is the pseudo-stratified ciliated columnar epithelium, and if you compare the dimension between the lumen, this is the luminal thickness, with the wall thickness, that is the thick muscular coat, it is more than the size of lumen. Okay, so if you compare these two, the wall thickness is more than the size of lumen. So there is only one slide with fitting all this feature, which is nothing but the vast difference. Okay, so the luminal size will be less than the total thickness. So that means it contains a thick layer of muscular coat. Okay, and the epithelium is pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium, and the lumen is completely free and it is a single circle, clear circle. Okay, so what are the other luminal structure with which you can able to confuse these slide? Okay, we'll go through it once. So that is the ureter. Okay, ureter, the epithelium is transitional epithelium. Along with that, you will be having star-shaped lumen. Okay, so lumen is not circle like this. The lumen will be folded a kind of star shape. Okay, and you can able to see the transitional epithelium, multiple layers of the transitional epithelium you can able to make out. So with that, you can able to differentiate the vast difference. Fallopian tube, in the upcoming slide we'll see. In the fallopian tube, the mucosa is the epithelium is getting folded within the lumen. Okay, and it is a simple columnar epithelium with the cilia. So you can able to differentiate that also very clearly. And in the blood vessel, mainly the lining epithelium is a simple squamous epithelium. And you can able to see the three distinct layer, tunica media, adventitia, and intima. And with the content of media and adventitia, you can very well differentiate into the large artery, medium sized artery, or large vein or medium sized vein also. Other luminal structure or appendix. Okay, again here the crypts will be there, lining epithelium will be there, simple columnar epithelium, and lymphoid aggregation in the appendix. In the uterus, uterus is also lined by the simple columnar epithelium, but spiral glands you can able to make out. Why I kept this under the luminal structure? Because most of the college having the slide which is taken from the smaller animal like a rabbit or rat, in which you can able to see the complete lumen in the uterus also. Okay, so be aware of this point. Uterus may contain lumen in low power magnification. Okay, then small intestine you can easily identify with the presence of villi. Then moving to the another slide, which closely resemblance with the mammary gland. Okay, so this is not the slide of mammary gland. Here, what are the thing you can able to make out? See, these are some glandular structure. If it is a glandular structure, it is lined by the simple columnar epithelium. Okay, mostly it is lined by the simple columnar or cuboidal epithelium. Okay, then apart from that, these are the fibrous coat. Okay, these are the fibrous stroma. Within the stroma, if you closely observe, you can able to see some darkly stained fiber, not only in the larger septa, in between the glands also you can able to make out if you closely observe. Okay, these are nothing but the smooth muscle, smooth muscles. Okay, so if we describe this gland in a single term, which is nothing but the fibro musculo-glandular tissue, right? Okay, so this gland which fit into the fibromusculo-glandular is nothing but the prostate. Okay, so this is like a prostate. So how to differentiate this from the mammary gland? In the mammary gland, it is a fibro fatty glandular tissue. Okay, fibro fatty glandular tissue. So when the fatty tissue is there, we can easily label it as a mammary gland. But most of the college slide which we are having is taken from the either actually lactating mother or from the lactating phase. So it lacks the fatty tissue. It contains only fibro and glandular tissue. This muscular component is absent in case of mammary. Okay, so this muscular component is the key feature to identify or differentiate the prostate from the mammary gland. Next, see this. Here we are having multiple follicles. Okay, here we are having the multiple follicle and the overall ovary outline also you can able to make out. Yes, this is a slide of ovary, easy one. You can identify by seeing the various size of follicle. So this slide, if you can able to see, this is a kind of luminal side. Okay, here you can able to see some kind of crypts, like the same thing is extending below, further below. Okay, so these are nothing but the uterine glands. Okay, so the glands which is going deep inside and coming back. Okay, so drawing again the glands which is going deep inside, it's coming again. So when the suction is taken, it may not be straight. So because of its irregularity, you can spiral nature, you can able to see multiple cross section. So and the thick muscular coat will be just below this. So this is a slide of uterus. In some places you can able to see, in 4x you can able to see a complete lumen also, so don't get confused in this. So you can able to see the uterus will be almost oval in structure. Okay, when you see the glands which is going deep inside like this, and in some places you can able to see multiple cross section of the same glandular appearance, and thick muscular coat will be there. Okay, so this kind of appearance you can able to see in the uterus only. Okay, so don't get confused. Sometime you may able to see the lumen in low power of uterus also, because these uterus are taken from the small animal like rat or mouse. So you can able to see the, because of small size of the uterus, you can able to see the lumen also. Then this is again one more structure with the proper lumen in it, and you can able to see the mucosa. The lumen is getting occupied with the folds which is arising from the mucosa. If you closely observe, these are simple columnar epithelium. Okay, so these are the simple columnar epithelium. Here these are the very tiny epithelium. In a bit high power you can able to make out, but see the typical nature of lumen. Okay, so if this is the lumen, in the lumen almost the most of the part of the lumen is occupied by these folds. Okay, so this kind of appearance is seen in the fallopian tube. Okay, and the muscular coat is comparatively thin. Okay, it is not like a vast difference. Okay, and the folds are almost getting into the lumen itself. So this is a slide of fallopian tube. Here the lining epithelium is the simple columnar with cilia. This is one of the unique slide you can able to identify very easily based on the multiple cross section. See this, there are multiple cross section, usually circular to oval, but it may be in irregular shape also. Okay, see it here, there are multiple small circle like structure. Okay, sometime you can able to see some big chunk also. Okay, so this is nothing but the slide of placenta. Whatever the circle I have shown here are the villi. Okay, so based on the orientation with the villi. Okay, if the section is passing through this, it may be appear as oval. If the section is passing at this level, it will appear like a circle. If the section is passing in its long axis, you can able to see a big piece of villi. Okay, so in between the villi, in the intervillar space, whatever scattered is the maternal blood. Okay, the fetal blood is present within the fetal blood vessels. Okay, which is in the central core of the villi, and you all know the layers. I'm not going in detail. So this is one of the easy slide to identify. So this is a slide of placenta. Okay, we have already seen this slide. This is nothing but the slide of mammary gland. Okay, so try to observe, there is no smooth muscle fiber here. You can't able to see that dark smooth muscle fiber in between the gland, and even in the thick fibrous tissue also you can't able to see some smooth muscle fiber. For your better understanding, here I have focused both the prostate and mammary gland. Try to compare and see. This smooth muscle fiber in between the gland and within the fibrous tissue is lacking in the mammary gland. Okay, so because of that, you can easily identify. In some places, you can able to see adipose tissue. Okay, adipose tissue with the peripheral nucleus, single cell appearance, you can able to see along with the mammary gland. That may be one of the feature to identify the mammary gland. So far we have seen the female reproductive system: ovary, fallopian tube, uterus, mammary gland, and in the male reproductive system, testis, vas deferens, epididymis, and prostate. Now we are moving to the nervous system, which contain a long list of slides. We'll see one by one. These two are almost similar looking slide. What you can able to see this structure. Okay, I have encircled in the either side. These are nothing but the cell bodies of the neuron. Okay, so this part, cell bodies of the neuron. So if the cell bodies of neurons are there, then it is probably the gray matter or the ganglion. Okay, so here this is not the gray matter. These two are the ganglion. So what are the two ganglion? You know, that is the important one in the histology point of view. That is a spinal ganglion and sympathetic ganglion. So which is what? How to differentiate between these two? If you see the slide of spinal ganglion, in the spinal ganglion, the nucleus or the cell body is located in groups. Okay, you can able to see these are the group of cell body. In between them, the nerve fibers are running. But in the sympathetic ganglion, the cell bodies are scattered. You can able to see there are lot of cell bodies scattered throughout. Okay. Then one more differentiating point in the spinal ganglion. Usually you can able to see the cell body clearly because the dimension of the neuron which is present. In the sympathetic, it is more tiny in nature, so you can't able to see its architecture clearly. Okay, so when you observe closely in the sympathetic, in the spinal ganglion, okay, so you can able to see the nucleus is almost in the center. Okay, so it's this is a spinal, this is a sympathetic. Spinal is otherwise known as dorsal root ganglion. Dorsal root ganglion. So the mnemonics I used to remember is the CD, central nucleus in dorsal root ganglion. You know that CD? Okay, so CD, central nucleus in the dorsal root ganglion. Okay, this is a bit eccentric in nature in the sympathetic, but it is hard to appreciate that eccentric nature also because of very small tiny neuron. Okay, so with this point you can able to differentiate the spinal ganglion from the sympathetic ganglion easily. So I'm repeating again, in the spinal ganglion the cell bodies are located in groups. In between the group you can able to see the nerve fiber layer. And the cell bodies are a bit larger and you can able to see the central nucleus. The mnemonics I have given is the CD. In the sympathetic ganglion, the cell bodies are so tiny and it's scattered all over the slide, and you can't able to appreciate that cell body itself very clearly. So these are the points to differentiate the sympathetic from the spinal ganglion. Then moving to the next, here in the slide you can able to make out multiple fasciculus of axons. Okay, with the this is the key point. Okay, you can able to see some blood vessels here. This is nothing but the central retinal artery and vein, and in low power you can able to see its covering. So this is the cross section of optic nerve, which is covered by the layer of meninges. Okay, optic nerve is the only nerve which is covered by the meningeal covering and which contains central retinal artery and vein in its center. Okay, so if this covering and this blood vessel is lacking, then it is similar to the slide of any peripheral nerve. Okay, it may be cranial or spinal nerve because you can able to see multiple bundle or cross section of the axons, bundle of axons. Okay, so that is the nerve bundles. Okay, so this you can able to differentiate the or identify the optic nerve. So this black color one, it is in most of the colleges it is there. Most of the time it is not kept for the exam, but it's easy to identify. Okay, so this is a kind of black color similar to the bony structure, but don't confuse with the bone. There you can able to see the Haversian canal or Volksman canal or the lamellae very clearly. Okay, here only the black and white structure is visible, and the it will be usually transversely oriented. Okay, the these are nothing but the slide of same peripheral nerve in its longitudinal section, and this kind of stain is known as osmium tetroxide. Okay, here what happened when we stain the nerve in the hematoxin and eosin, during that process the myelin sheath will be dissolved. Okay, you can't able to see, or it is not stained properly. But in this osmium tetroxide fixative, the myelin sheath will get black in color, and whatever the nerve fiber you can able to see as a whitish structure. What you can able to see, these are the nerve fiber, and the surrounding myelin sheath will absorb this osmium tetroxide, and you can able to see darkly stained black color. Okay, so if you get this slide, it's easy to identify. Okay, you just need to differentiate it from the bone. So this slide is the longitudinal section of peripheral nerve fixed in the osmium tetroxide. Then one more easy slide. This is nothing but the spinal cord. Okay, so spinal cord, the features that includes the central canal. Okay, this anterior gray horn, posterior gray horn. Okay, anteromedian fissure, posteromedian septum, and anterior spinal arteries. Okay, these are the nerve roots which is coming out. Posterior spinal arteries are there. Okay, and the coverings also you can able to see. Here the anterior spinal, the covering also you can able to see. Why I'm saying all these points, because when it is focused under microscope, you can hardly see only one small of, as shown in this image. Here you can able to see the central canal, okay, anterior gray horn, anterior median fissure. Okay, so with this small feature I should able to identify this as a slide of spinal cord. Okay, when you see the slide under naked eye, you can able to see this proper spinal cord appearance also. Okay, with that also you can able to identify the slide. So this in the gray horn you can able to see multiple pyramidal cells, pyramidal shape, those nucleus you can able to see, and you can able to see the cell bodies also similar to the ganglion. You can able to see the cell body here also. Okay, usually here the neurons which is located are multipolar in nature. Okay, the typical neuron, the one you draw, you can able to appreciate in the anterior gray horn especially. So this is slide of spinal cord. Then it's one of the easiest slide to identify. Okay, so that tree-like appearance, arbor-vitae appearance. Okay, there are three layers. Okay, this middle one, if you closely observe, okay, in the high power you can able to see there are a single row of cell. This cell is known as the Purkinje cell layer. Okay, outer molecular, inner granular. Okay, middle Purkinje layer. So this is a slide of cerebellum. Okay, so the nerve fiber layer is deeper. Okay, so this three layer and its folding you can able to see very clearly. Even when the slide is given, you can able to see that arbor vitae appearance. Okay, the tree-like appearance you can able to see. So that's one of the key point to identify the cerebellum. In the cerebrum slide, this is a slide of cerebrum. This is one of the slide which you are going to identify by rule of exclusion, by excluding others possibility. Okay, so here the only thing you can able to see is the multiple pyramidal shape nucleus. Okay, so only this triangular nucleus is the point you can able to identify. You can't able to see the layers clearly. Okay, So if this pyramidal shaped cells are there, then it will be a definitely a neuron. So when the neurons are there, it will be a part of some nervous system. In the nervous system, you know how to exclude the spinal cord or the cerebellum, or the nerves, then ganglion. Okay, after excluding all this, then you can, by rule of exclusion, you can identify the cerebrum. Okay, so this is how you have to identify it. Then this is one of the typical slide where you can able to see this cleft like space in between. Okay, don't confuse this cleft with the tonsillar cleft, where in the tonsillar cleft, the cleft is lined by the epithelium. What is that epithelium? That is a stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium, and you can able to see some kind of lymphoid aggregation also in the tonsil. Okay, so here you can't able to see any epithelium, but you can able to see the cleft, and this is nothing but the slide of pituitary, where the glandular part and the nervous part intermingling you can able to make out. Okay, anterior pituitary, posterior pituitary, and this intermediate one you can able to make out. So this is one of the typical one you can able to identify very easily. This is the slide of retina. Okay, you can able to see multiple layers. Okay, starting from the pigment, rods and cones. Okay, so in a bit faded slide, also you can able to see multiple layers. See the different distinct layers. Okay, here the challenging point is which is the ganglion cell layer and which is the pigment cell layer. Okay, so if you closely observe this properly stained slide, this single row of cell is nothing but the ganglion cell layer. Okay, so that one you can able to see here. These are the ganglion cell layer. Okay, so the opposite is the pigment cell layer of rods and cones. Okay, so it's easy for you to show in the exam is asking in the discussion also. So this is a slide of retina. So it's very easy. This side also. Here you can able to see the stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. Okay, so when I said in the previous video, stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium will be having always wavy nature. Okay, but this wavy nature is absent only in one region, that is in the cornea. Okay, in the cornea, because of its proper refractive power, it has to be in a regular fashion. Okay, so here you can able to see three layer actually clearly. Here the endothelium will be there. Okay, and in between the stroma will be there. But there are five layers. There are two layers in between these two also. Those are very small layer. You can't able to appreciate very clearly. Okay, so with this epithelium and the endothelium and the thick stroma, you can identify this as a slide of cornea. Then coming to the endocrine, here there are multiple gland. Okay, gland means which is lined by the simple cuboidal epithelium. Okay, filled with colloid. So what colloid is this? This is nothing but this is in the high power. Okay, this is at the low power in the 10x. Okay, you can able to see colloid filled follicles. This is nothing but the thyroid follicle. Okay, you can able to see that homogeneous colloid filled follicles. So this is the last slide. Okay, bit tricky slide. Here you can able to appreciate this as a glandular. Okay, because the multiple epithelium. Okay, some kind of gland you can able to see. If you closely observe in its outer side. Okay, this is an outer. In its outer surface, the glands are arranged in a some kind of circular in fashion. Okay, so kind of glomeruli. Okay, but in the middle it is bit arranged in a straight. Can you able to appreciate here? This is bit arranged in a straight fashion. Okay, if you see the at the inner aspect towards the medulla, it is bit reticular in nature. Okay, so this is the zona glomerulosa, zona fascicularis, zona reticularis. Okay, so this is nothing but the slide of adrenal gland. Okay, adrenal cortex and medulla will be in the center. So with the arrangement of cells, you can able to differentiate this. Again, this similar to the cerebrum, this adrenal gland is also slide of exclusion. After excluding all those slide, you try to finalize this into the adrenal gland. So we have completed all the histology slide. Okay, starting from the general to the systemic. So my tips is try to take your time. If the 1 minute is the spotter, try to identify the slide by looking into all the field and rule out what are the other possibilities which may be there. Okay, if it is having a lumen, try to rule out those things, and once you confirmed the slide identification, try to add one or two, try to look for 1 or 2 points to verify your solution, so that there is in the hurry there is a chance of less chance of doing any kind of bias, so that you will correctly identify the slide. Okay, when it comes to discussion, take your time, screen all the field. Okay, screen all the field and try to come to the concrete solution, then you start drawing your diagram. Okay, so with this I'm completing this video of histology series. If I missed any histology slide, you can mention in the comment section. I will add those things also. Thank you. If you want any other anatomy related videos, you can mention in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Share with your friends.